This rabbit hole tutorial, which is brought to you by Betsperts Golf, will cover the metrics section of our database. I'm sure a lot of you watching this already have a good deal of background knowledge on many of the stats that will be shown as we go through them here. So I won't explain each one, but one thing to notice, if you simply hover your cursor over one of the metrics, you will see a pretty thorough description of each one and why it is important. So before we go down the list, another unique part of the rabbit hole is that while many of these stats can be found on the PGA Tour website, they cannot be sorted by year or by number of rounds or by course region or course type or even by groups of courses themselves. And you have the ability to do all of that here on the rabbit hole. And to top it off, no other site has the ability to analyze each of these 70 plus metrics under the lens of over 40 different course and tournament conditions, as you can see here. And we have more coming very soon. And I will get into those filters in a different video. All right, so this is the main view. So we're looking here at strokes gained, which everybody knows these are the main stats that we look at, analyze each week on the PGA Tour. So we're kind of, as we go through here, what you're going to be seeing, this is a 2-year time frame. Time frames up here, you have a minimum 30 round sample size. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So strokes gained, again, this is the first page. A different video, I went over the floor ceiling filter already. So we're going to skip past that one. Encourage you to watch that video if you want to learn more about that filter. So let's get into off the tee here. And again, we have two options. You can view display these results by rank, which you see here. I like to use the average as well. Obviously, kind of look at the raw data. So off the tee here, we will organize these so you can see. So yeah, we've got obviously the main column. The first one here is going to be off the tee. And obviously, many of you know these very well. Driving distance, driving accuracy. We do have total driving, which, again, is a combination of distance and accuracy and kind of presents, like the stat says, who the best total drivers are in the field. And it's just interesting to look at some of these younger guys up here. So you can see Neil Shipley. Obviously, him and Luke Clanton have limited sample size rounds, but a lot of young guys here leading the way in total driving. Good drive percentage. One I love, distance from the edge of the fairway, which I think gives a little more accurate picture than even fairways gained. And then carry distance and total distance efficiency, which is one not a lot of people look at this one. Basically, showing which players are maximizing their swing when driving the ball off the tee. Now, as we head down to approach, we divide approach up into a lot of different ways. So again, clicking on average here. And another thing, another really great feature of the rabbit hole is the data you see here as far as the color coding it's not blindly just color coded by column. It is based on the actual 5-year PGA Tour averages for each metric. So, the different coloring you see here is based on those averages. So it makes it much more accurate when trying to decipher between good and bad performances in some of these areas. So again, just our basic general approach categories. You obviously see strokes gained approach, greens and regulation, overall proximity to the hole, And then this last section, these last four stats, these are GFG, stands for going for the green. So this would be on par fours, drivable par fours, players who go for the green with their tee shot, or on par fives, players who are trying to get to the green with their second shot. So I love going for the green percentage because it basically shows you who the most aggressive players are. These are the players who make that choice to go for the green, and no surprise there with Rory being number one over the last 2 years. And in the rounds column, you can see in parentheses, these are shot length rounds. So total rounds, shot length rounds in parentheses. But yeah, so these going for the green stats, hitting the green, birdie or better percentage, and then proximity in yards to the hole when you go for the green on either your drive on a par four or a second shot on a par five. All right, the next we have overall approach proximity. We just added this very recently. So this is unique to the next two approach areas we'll look at. So what we've got here is, instead of the normal 25-yard buckets, we have gone and basically done it by 50 rounds. So you can see here 50 to 100, 100 to 150. 200 plus is usually where most data sites stop, but we have taken this a step further, looking at 200 to 250 yards, and even then going higher that with 250 yards plus. So again, just to give you just the complete picture here. So again, last 2 years, these are some of your leaders. So you can see again, completely color coded to the averages for each range. And this is, like it says overall, this is fairway and rough together. So this is not separate. So you'll see here in our next two, we do have fairway and rough. So if you wanted to get really specific and just see, who performs the best from the fairway, obviously some players do perform better than others from the rough. So both these are going to be the same other than that distinction. So again, you can see here Scotty leading the way from greens and regulation from the fairway. And again, we have proximity from the fairway. And then we have the buckets here in 25 yards, so 50 to 175, all the way up to 200 plus. And so rough is going to be the same exact thing here, just from the rough. So skip down here to around the green. We do have a couple of unique metrics in this section that I do really like. Again, around the green is your first category. Around the green proximity. Now this is like approach proximity, except from around the green. So how close your ball is to the hole after being hit onto the putting surface. So basically, when you are chipping, how close are you chipping to the hole? And so you can see here some of the leaders. And again, we do have a 30-round sample size. So again, keep that in mind. You can always expand that and make that as high as you want it to go. But again, sand saves, scrambling, and then we do have scrambling divided into scrambling from the rough and also from the short grass, which would be from your your tighter lies, below the green, from the fairway. So really, really cool here to, be able to break it down into the different components of scrambling itself, which again, no other website has this. We go down here next to putting. We have a couple different putting categories. So again, starting with first column will be strokes gained putting, and then we get into 3-putt avoidance. And then if you want to look at 3-putt avoidance from 25 feet plus, so obviously some courses on tour have really large greens, and if you're constantly hitting your approach far from the hole and you have to try to get up and down, this is a really good way to see who struggles perhaps with putting on larger greens, who and then kind of approach putting works with this is basically lag putting. So who are the best lag putters on tour? And so this is how close you get your ball to the hole when you are making that initial putt. And so again, these are the best lag putters on tour here in this order. Moving down, we do have the different putting ranges, and very similar to approach, proximity buckets, who are the best putters from each of these. And again, if you wanted to look at just the raw rankings, or if you wanted to look at the actual proximity distances and percentages of who is the best from each range. So you can see we have 3 to 5 feet, we have 5 to 10 feet, and so on down the line here, all the way up to 25 plus feet. Scoring. Now, this is a section that we are going to add more metrics to, but for right now, we have obviously birdie or better percentage, and then we do have birdie or better percentage from both the fairway and the rough. Again, we have eagles, we have bogey avoidance. And then for each of these, another area we are looking to expand and add more to. But we have, just for now, we have basics, the basics here. So actual par 3 scoring average, along with birdie or better percentage. So again, on par 3s. And these are going to be the same. So par 3, par 4, par 5 are going to have these two metrics for each. Now, we have a miscellaneous metrics section, which is another one that we'll be expanding even more. But for now, some of these are swing metrics. So apex height. So obviously these are the players who looking for who hit the ball the highest off the tee. Again, we have club head speed and ball speed. And we do kind of go off here a little bit to AM scoring average, PM scoring average. So again, if you bet first round leader and you're looking for guys teeing off, early in the morning, if you're playing, showdown laps for, daily fantasy, if the morning wave has a better draw, you can also look here and see, okay, well, which players also tend to play better in the morning than maybe in the afternoon. And, some players have come out and said, they prefer one over the other. You could see, for example, Colin Morikawa has a good more than a stroke difference between his AM and PM scoring average. So just another tool that you can use. And you can see other players even have more drastic differences here. So again, you can combine any of these metrics that we just looked at here with all of these filters, any of these filters you wanted to look at, which we will go over in a video in the very near future. So again, thank you for your time. Again, reach out if you have any questions. More than happy to answer, suggestions, things you want to see added to the rabbit hole.